have gotten is formidable, shall we say, because it's people that have been involved in the show, it's people that have not as long as my name's on the producer.
It's not.
Yeah, it is.
There's no credits at all.
No, he's the one that signed it.
Program contract here at Channel 12, Gene is listed as the producer for anybody that calls in to contact the producer.
So it's all your fault.
I have the responsibility, and
How come
therefore
we're
I have
getting
the
that
authority.
echo?
Oh,
Mic check! Mic check! Mic check! Mic check! Congress shall make no law. Congress shall make no law. Respecting an establishment of religion. Respecting an establishment of religion. Or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Or abridging the freedom of speech. Or abridging the freedom of speech. Or of the press. Or of the press. Or the right of the people. Or the right of the people. Peaceably to assemble. Peaceably to assemble. And to petition the government. And to petition the government. For a redress of grievances. For a redress of grievances. Woo! Let freedom ring! Let freedom ring! Woo!
Hi, welcome to another edition of Occupy Live. Actually, this is probably going to be the last day that last week that we call this show Occupy Live. We're actually changing the name. We will continue to announce that there's going to be, that it's now going to be called the Idaho 99%. And we will continue to announce, though, that it was formerly Occupy Live. We are doing so because there has been a little bit of a, well, let me say, I used to call this a split, but I don't like calling it a split because what it is there's people within the Occupy movement that are joining an organization called the 99 Declaration, and what that consists of is people who, I think I've announced it a little bit on here before, but I don't want to go into it too much right now because we will be spending a little more time with it on future shows. But I just come off of, yesterday we had a conference call with delegates, with the delegate coordinators from around the country, around the United States of America. There's got one delegate coordinator for each state. I'm the one for Idaho. We decided that we're going to call the whole process Continental Congress 2.0. And for those of you who don't know, that was the original getting together of our forefathers that started the whole process off of redress of grievances to England. I probably didn't call it that at that time, but and so, I mean, there's going to be a lot to it, and I just want to, but what we're basically going to do, we're going to redress grievances, we're going to take it to our public officials that are in seats, our sitting elected officials, we're going to take it to our candidates who are running for office, and we're going to get them to make some concessions, make some pledges that they will change certain things that we know are wrong in our government today. And if they don't do that, we're going to run candidates against them. That's our plan. That's the plan of the 99 Declaration. We hope in the 99 Declaration to be allies to the Occupy movements. That's what we hope to be. And that's what I'm going to work towards as simultaneously while I'm working with the 99 Declaration. I'm going to give these guys a chance to say right now or at some point later, some later show, you know, what they think about that and how they feel about it. We've had a pretty lively debate about it. And I think it's only fair that I let them chime in on it. You guys want to do that right now, or how do you feel about it?
Well, the fact that there are divisions growing in the Occupy movement and with the 99 means that the whole process is starting to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's what we have to do. We have to evolve into an organization or organizations that will help the country heal itself from these grievous wounds that have been dealt upon our body politic by our politicians and by Wall Street. Mm-hmm. You know, we know that there are problems out there, and if you can't find exactly the right organization that is helping you to come to grips with what's happening, well, find another organization that will, because this is too important to be divided up. And you know, as long as our organizations stay together and work towards a common goal, we can call ourselves whatever we want, but we're all citizens, and we're all really involved in trying to make our country better. You know, we took a real hit. We lost trillions of dollars in our economy. We lost hundreds of thousands of jobs. Probably there were a few deaths associated with that too, because when people get laid off, they get depressed. Some of them would commit suicide. I mean, this was a national tragedy, and it was global, actually.
And to be really honest, how many of the people that literally saw nothing better went ahead and joined the armed services and got thrown into the meat grinders?
That's true. That's true.
If you got nothing better to do, almost everybody says, "Well, join the Army or join the Navy." And I did once, and I found out that the Navy doesn't solve your problems. Let's be realistic. But for a lot of people, it solves quick financial problems because they get a big boost by their sign-on pay, enough that they can get out of the debt that they built up into. However, we're finding out now with soldiers and sailors coming home, soldiers, sailors, and Marines. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus here. However, I am going to make a pointed comment about Air Scouts. Anyway, but the thing is, these guys joined literally to get out of this grinding machine that they were in. And now we're finding out that they go over, they get deployed somewhere, they come back, and it's worse than it was to begin with. Not only is it worse than they started, but now there are actually active duty families that are being thrown out on the street once they get home.
Yeah.
That is just unconscionable.
It's despicable. That's what it is. That's my word for it.
Honestly, I'm at total vocabulary failure. There's not a word harsh enough to describe this. And I wonder how many of the 300 mortgages that we know that are in foreclosure in this town alone, right now, 300 are in foreclosure. Or in foreclosure. I wonder how many of those are people that were recently in Iraq or Afghanistan or what have you.
Well, they have numbers, and it may not seem high. I think it's like 14% or something. Yeah. The last one I saw, that may not seem like a high number, but if it's one person,
it's more than enough.
It's too high for even one average person.
Right.
But when you're talking about the military who have put their life on the line for this country, that's about it's hard to put an exponent on it, but it's way, 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 way despicable, way more despicable than just what happens with the average person.
And it gets even worse because when the veteran gets kicked out of the house, they almost invariably go into the homeless. And right now, you don't even want to ask about how despicable it is when you have almost half of the homeless right now are veterans. How's this even possible?
It's a real dilemma and a real problem, a social problem, as well as, you know, it really devolves back on politics.
Honestly, I wonder if the state should just, or the state, meaning the counties or whatever, should just basically say, we're refusing to follow the foreclosure proceedings for active duty personnel.
That's what should happen. No family of a service person should lose their home while that individual is on active duty.
And I know from personal experience, it is easy for them to just say, no, that E4 pay, that belongs to me. There's not even the 30% requirement that is out in town. They can take your whole pay. I've seen it happen before. Some kid, when I was in, overextended himself at one of those payday, or one of the precursors of the payday loan places, a jewelry store called, I think it was called Giant Jewelry. They were pretty much endemic around all the recruit bases. He went ahead and got his girl a engagement ring and ended up basically getting his entire pay taken from him for, I think, on the order of a year.
That's pretty damning. But you know, part of our show is going to be about what's been happening to women in politics, and the very ugly thing that the social conservatives are trying to do to our women. And somewhere in our studio, we do have a guest. She stepped out for a minute, but we'll be talking a little bit about some of our.
She'll be back in a minute. If you want to get the other chair and the microphone ready.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. Point at him. You had some things to say?
Yeah.
About what? I was,
just so we can isolate.
A chance again, I was going to announce our topic, which I never did. What that topic's going to be is the what is the term we're using? The women's issues that Lewis just alluded to, talking about the contraception. A lot of the abortion tactics, anti-abortion tactics that the extreme right wing is using now. And, you know, they think they're fooling us. They're doing it because they're anti-abortion. They're not doing it because they've got women's health in mind and women's, you know, they want what the whole thing is to me that I've seen is it's to lay a big fat guilt trip on women who even consider getting an abortion. No matter what their reasoning for that abortion is, no matter what their reasoning for the contraception, for any of that stuff, these guys, and to me it just shows their desperation. They're down to that. They're down to laying big fat guilt trips on women. You know, it just shows me their desperation. They don't have a valid argument, so they're basically creating one. They're basically creating an argument. And so anyway, we have our guest on set here now. Are we ready to go to her? And
okay.
Okay, we're talking about House Bill 1347, is that right?
Or the Senate version, yeah. Well, we can't. So,
why don't you explain what that is first?
You've got the paperwork in front of you, so why don't you give us a little more detail about it?
Okay, I'm first time on camera.
Okay, well, sorry about that.
Slow down a bit.
Just relax. I swear the people out there won't bite you.
First of all, there's an attack against women across the nation. This isn't just a local issue.
Not by a long shot.
Transvaginal probes, ultrasounds, those types of ideas is basically rape. In a sense, it's penetration.
Yeah.
It's a breaking of the...
We kind of jokingly call it state rape. Yes.
Right. Okay. And I wasn't...
But the rape part, I'm not joking.
No.
That's what it is, because like you were just alluding to, it's against your will, and it's being forced on you.
First of all, transvaginal ultrasounds. Do you know what they are? Basically?
Yes, I just from watching. I didn't know until all this came up, but yes, I do now.
Well,
quite
this is exactly how it goes, pretty much. You lie down on a table with your knees bent, feet in holders called stirrups.
Feet in the stirrup.